What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you are, make sure you just start every video by smashing that like button. I know you're going to like what I have for you. And if you haven't yet, there's a red subscribe button down below. It's immensely important. I know if you don't have a YouTube account, it can seem like a pain in the rear, but it's really the only way that you'll find my videos, and it lets YouTube know maybe once in a while to recommend my videos, so I greatly appreciate it. And then we continue our coverage on the AB situation, where a bit of a meltdown happened this weekend in front of the camera, and it's not great. It doesn't look good. Now, there is an ongoing investigation, and I'm told that AB was told not to talk about it. Then he proceeds to talk about it for 3 to 4 minutes to reporters, and his wife or whatever acting really bizarrely on camera. The whole scene is really, really sad. We're also told some of the final words uttered by the person on the receiving end of the accident, and they are pretty heartbreaking too. I know it's easy to meme on AB, and we're going to continue to do that, but I only ask that people remember that somebody who is an AB, lost their life in this. And, I hope that there is some, form of justice. I don't know exactly what that looks like right now, but nonetheless, somebody who isn't a total TDS maniac, was, the real sad part here. She was my friend. A haggard-looking AB broke his silence on Saturday, declaring his friendship with the cinematographer. There's no incidental accidents on film sets. There are, incidental accidents on film sets from time to time, but nothing like this, AB, who looked forlorn and time-sounded hoarse, told a reporter from Backgrid as he stood by the side of the road in Vermont with traffic whizzing by behind him. This is a 1 in a trillion episode, a 1 in a trillion event. I agree with him. That doesn't mean there should be no consequences. These comments were AB's first since the incident. Now, he was wearing dark pants, a dark jacket, gray flannel shirt, spoke on what appeared to be a rural road with his wife, Hilary, at his side, filming the interaction on her cell phone. Why? It was really bizarre. Now, I'm no fan of the paparazzo, obviously I'm never going to achieve that level of fame where, weirdos are showing up and asking my question or my opinion on things. But I'm sure that many of them go too far. We saw this with, the Gabby case. You could see these weird pictures. I'm not sure why she was filming it, what was going on there. But it's weird. A woman had passed. She was my friend. She was my friend, said AB. When I arrived there to start filming, I took her to dinner. We were a very, very well-oiled crew when this terrible thing happened. At one point, AB's admonished a reporter for apparently failing to know her name. You don't know her name? Come on, AB said. The actor said that he welcomes discussions about eliminating these type of things from Hollywood productions. And this is where we have a major issue, major disagreement. And, I talked to some people on a movie set recently about this. And you'll see that full interview coming up in a week or two. But the interesting thing is, this is the type of knee-jerk reaction that we see every time an accident happens. It's like, oh no, one bad thing happened, we must regulate 100% of the every other things. Now, he's probably right. There are trillions of interactions like this that happen, since the last time, which was probably Brandon Lee. I don't know. An ongoing effort to limit the use of these things is something I'm extremely interested in. The actor said, we're in constant contact with her husband. The couple had a 9-year-old son. We are very worried about her family, adding that he was ordered to not discuss the case, but then he did anyway. See, AB and wife snap at reporters who are asked questions about the ongoing investigation. AB snapped at reporters on Saturday who were following him around Manchester, Vermont, as he and his family tried to lay low ever since everything that happened. Let's go. What do you want to know? AB said. All right, Alec, what's the current state of what's going on with the case? I'm not allowed to make any comments because it's an ongoing investigation. AB fired back. I've been ordered to stay quiet. I can't answer any questions. I can't. It's an active, investigation in terms of everything going on. She was my friend. At that moment, AB's wife walked up to him, appearing to shake her head in an effort to get him to stop talking to the media, at which point he appeared agitated, dismissing her, saying, "Excuse me." Then his wife snapped at the reporter when they forgot the name of the person. Her name is this and that. Hilna. Her name is Hilna. If you're spending this much time waiting for us, you should know her name. It's actually a reasonable thing to say. Again, I'm not saying, I wasn't there. I think we have to wait for everything to come out. But I mean, yes, I would say if you're going to badger somebody and follow them around, that's a reasonable thing to ask. She then interjected when her husband was asked a question, to which AB had to motion her to say, not she was going to answer the questions. I don't know. There's an ongoing effort. They stopped to talk to reporters because they were following them around and their kids were crying in the car. They asked that the reporters stop following them and give them privacy. I mean, that's kind of part of the Hollywood deal. I understand, why that might be the case, but you don't get to do that right now. Now, I think after experiencing an actual on-set armorer like I did and seeing a real professional, I can see why there might be a range of people who do this type of job. In fact, the person who took this job said that it was a really BA way to start off a really long and cool career. It was my first time being head armorer as well, she said. I almost didn't take the job because I wasn't sure I was ready, but doing it like it went really smoothly. Well, I'm not exactly sure how you define the term smooth, but it doesn't look like that's the case. And quite honestly, there is this thing about responsibility. And sometimes somebody, in almost any case, even if there is, let's talk about insurance, right? Even when there's like a no fault case, you're driving down the road and you're following all the rules and somebody, T-bones you, bro. And your insurance company is still going to assign some level of blame to you for being there. That's just the way the real world works. And in this particular case, I would argue that outside of large financial lawsuits, which are almost certain to come, you're going to have some level of culpability, don't you think? I mean, someone lost their life. I don't think you can just say stuff like, well, I had no idea how these things ended up on set. I think that is the question that you have to answer. That's the question. If you can figure out how they got there, then that's who's responsible for it. Now, was it some part-time person that, brought it on? Maybe. I don't know. But whoever did bring them on, I think, is at least partly responsible here. And the armorer is the other part responsible. Now, if they're the same person, then they're doubly responsible. I think that, AB also being executive producer, at some point the buck stops with him. I'm unsure if he's going to face any type of actual, charges here, but he is going to get drained. His bank account is going to suffer greatly. Now, he'll probably, because Hollywood people stick together, he'll probably just pay off her family and, that'll be the end of it. But there'll be other people on the set that have PTSD and have, all these other people. Now they shut down everything going forward. Like, they're not going to finish this movie from what I understand. So what about all the people on that movie that were depending on that money? I would imagine there are suits coming for that as well. This seems a little macabre. I didn't know about spending too much time on it, but it seems like, I think it kind of goes towards like a positive, character of the cinematographer. They're now reporting I I guess the last thing she said, first the director said, "What the F was that? That burns," he yelled. That was after he had received a lead injection. Then AB put it down and said, "What the F just happened?" Someone yelled for medic. Someone shouted amid the pandemonium as crew members rushed. One of them, a boom operator, looked into her eyes and said, "Oh, that was no good," the LA Times said. "No, that was no good at all," she replied. Within hours, she was pronounced officially gone. It's going to be interesting to see if all this kind of disappears from the press, or if they're able to kind of shift the narrative. I suspect they're going to work very hard to shift the narrative to the kind of anti-pew-pew narrative. This is definitely, a mistake, but just because something's a mistake doesn't mean there shouldn't be consequences for it. Certainly AB will never be the same, but that doesn't mean, just because he has mental anguish that he's off the hook. I'm guessing that the armorer, that's kind of part of the position, isn't it? You assume the responsibility if things go badly. And, certainly I would imagine this person's probably never going to work in Hollywood again. But, I don't agree with regulating and firing every other armorer, on these sets and removing, realistic items, because that's just dumb. That's an overreaction. Somebody made a mistake. They will pay for that mistake. And that's the unfortunate part in all this. It's not going to bring her back, but it's going to be a spicy week or two here as the investigation continues. Make sure you click that red subscribe button down below. News cycle is slowing down on this one a little bit. I promise as soon as we've got anything new in the investigation, I'll report it here on the channel. We'll talk to you again real soon.